Hello and welcome. I'm delighted to be here, introducing another one of our amazing awakened authors, Michael Seery, who has written an inspiring chapter in a multi-author book. And I'd really love to introduce Michael, and maybe I'll introduce the name of the book before I introduce Michael: Resilience, Turning Struggle into Strength. Welcome, Michael. We'd love to hear a little bit about you.
Hi, Evan. Good afternoon. Well, I'm a widower. I'm a grandfather. I'm a sports coach. I'm a sports mental mindset coach, and I'm an NLP coach. So I have 7 grandchildren, and they all live close to me, which is really good because I get to see them at least once a week. And I've written this book, or my chapter in this book, about just a part of my life.
Awesome, awesome. So we're going to jump into that, but before we jump into that, Michael, so I'm kind of thinking your grandchildren and your children must be like really lucky to have someone who has a positive attitude and who's passionate about. Obviously, you've been coaching for a long time in lots of different things, but around mindset and helping them to think in a positive way. So I kind of and great that they're local as well. So I think that must be an amazing thing for you and the family. Mate, we had a conversation pre-writing the book, and we had a chat about, I shared with you the vision and the direction of the book, and, you know, where we kind of were looking for it to go. So, mate, what resonated with you that made you decide to become a published author and share your story?
Well, I think the thing is that I had a story. I realised that there was this story out there of my life over the last few years. And you made me realise that it actually would be beneficial for me, if not for anybody else, if that story was written and came out. I've written the story. It is my story. It's not a story that is necessarily intended for everybody else. However, I'm sure there's messages there that other people can relate to. And there's certainly parts of each story, each part of the story. People can look at it and say, yeah, that happened to me too.
I've got goosebumps when I'm hearing, you know, what you're saying, because I know, because what we've shared and going through the process. So it's just great to hear, you know, your side of things. So, you know, why do you think that was important for you at that point in time to like share that story? As you said, you know, you had a story. Why do you think it was important for you?
Well, at the time you approached me, I was still going through the pain of the loss of my wife. It's almost 2 years. Actual fact, it's 2 years on Tuesday since my wife died. And I still get emotional about it at times. I still get very sad about it. But I've realised that, you know, I've gone through the process. I've gone through the grieving. I've gone through the acceptance. I've gone through the letting go. And that, you know, and that's part of the story. But, you know, it took some time. It's not something you get over, you know, in a couple of minutes. It's not something you get over in 3 months or 6 months or even 12 months and maybe even 2 years. You don't get over it. But I still had some pain. I still had the pain. And the thing is that the one thing that I was missing in my life was connection. You know, it was the connection of a partner. And I realised that, well, I'm good until the sun goes down each day. And the darkness of the day brings darkness in me. And I wanted to get over that. And I believe that writing the story has some way helped me do that.
So when you were writing it, you know, it sounds like it may have thrown up some challenges for you, but how did you kind of settle into writing it? If it was okay that you were good in the day, but at, you know, night was your, you know, your darkness. How was that when you settled into writing it? Because I know that you'd written lots and lots and lots and lots.
Well, it was easy to write at first. You know, I sat down and I wrote and wrote and wrote. But I just chronicled the time over the last 4 or 5 years and just wrote, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. And then I sent it to you and you said, well, yeah, but where's the emotion? You know? And I think, what are you talking about? It's a great story. And then when I read it again, I thought, yeah, maybe it does need some emotion. Maybe it does need to reflect what I was really thinking. And even now, it probably doesn't quite get there. Who knows? But I know when I read it, and I know when my daughter read it, the second daughter, she read it, she got very emotional about it. And I found that the second writing was better. It still took a third writing, and it's not something you just write. But I felt better. I felt this realization that I had done the grieving, and I was over that. I'd done the letting go. I'd done the acceptance, but I still struggle with the loneliness.
Sure.
And I still struggle with other things in relation to grieving, but I was getting there.
Yeah, yeah. And look, we had a few drafts, didn't we? Like to
We
peel back the layers, of the story to, I suppose it's twofold, isn't it? The healing journey, peeling back those layers of healing, but also at the same time, as you're peeling back those layers of healing and vulnerability, and thanks for sharing that as well, that it's like has an effect, for the reader, has an engaging effect for that reader.
Yeah.
So now that you've completed it, mate, and you look back along that journey of writing it, how do you feel about it now?
Oh, well, I feel like a great sense of accomplishment. I've completed writing my first ever chapter that's going to get published. That's a great feeling of accomplishment. But I've also feel that it helps me in completion in some respects of all the processes. Yes, I'm not completely, I'm still lonely at night. I still have that loneliness. But I think I'm actually happier about it now than I used to be. But I think there's more healing to be done. And in working with another one of my mentors recently, I did some journaling. I'm not sure why this topic came up, but it was part of a process that we were doing. And I realized that the one thing it is that my identity for the previous 45 years had been as a husband. That was my prime identity. I was the husband. I was the breadwinner. I'd gone through the process a few years ago of not being still the breadwinner. I was still bringing the income, but I wasn't the working breadwinner. And that, as you go into retirement, that's a stage of life where you really start to struggle. And now I'm no longer a husband. So my identity is not a full-time working person. My identity is not a husband. It's evolving. And I'm not sure where it's heading, but I know that my identity is changing.
Wow. I want to say, look, a big thanks for sharing all of that. And we're so honored and to have you as part of the community. And I know that it's going to make a big difference because it already has to you. So if it's made a big difference to you, really it's got to make a big difference to those who really need to hear your story. So what would you say to someone who's maybe in a similar situation to you, or maybe has always thought about, hey, I'd like to write, but I'm not sure how to do that, or who would listen to my story, or maybe sitting on the fence, on the verge of maybe having an identity shift like yourself? What would you say to them?
Well, I always say that sitting on the fence is hard, and if you sit there and you sit the wrong angle, it can become very uncomfortable, and it's best to get off the fence. So what I would suggest that someone, if they think that they want to write something, to just start writing. And my main go-to thing is journaling. Now, in my grandpa post Facebook page, I have been putting daily journaling prompts, and there I've give people an opportunity to write or think about various aspects of their life. And if they want to think about that, they can look at something like those prompts to start their journaling. But then to think about, righto, what is it what I want about my problem? How can I deal with it? And just sit down for 10 minutes, set the clock going, play a bit of music, maybe do a bit of meditating beforehand, and just free write for 10 minutes.
That's a great message, mate. That is an awesome message, mate. I want to say thanks again. I'm looking forward to the book being released. I'm looking forward to watching you transform and evolve in your new identity. And I'll speak to you really soon. Thanks again. And that's our first cut. We're out, mate.
Well, thanks very much for the opportunity to talk to you today.
You're welcome, Michael. First of many, mate. Bye for now.